Well, we had an 8 o'clock start to Tatton Park, found our way here reasonably well. Massive place, I had no idea it was as big as it is. Red deer been fairly close to me, in fact people have been almost patting them on the heads, which is a bit disappointing. But we're just going to have a look at some fallow deer now. What do you think so far then, Keith?
Excellent, lovely place.
Good. Well, we arrived at 9:45, parked up in Tatton Street car park, £3.20 for 6 hours, walked in through the Knutsford gate, and I think we were expecting to see deer everywhere, but we stopped and asked a couple of people if there's any deer around, and disappointingly they both said, "Oh no, you're too late, you won't see any now." And so I thought, oh, it's a day for birds. There's a few jays and kestrels flying around. But then we saw a stag peeking out from behind the tree. Now you're told everywhere not to walk within 50 metres of the stags, and we couldn't get over how near everyone seemed to be walking right by them. They didn't seem to bother at all. We've, of course, kept our distance, using telephoto lenses, etc. But we were quite happy to see one or two stags at fairly close distance, but we realised we were probably too late to see any rutting. But I now think, looking back on the day, that the deer we saw early on that were by the side of all the footpaths that are used to seeing people walk past are probably deer that have been pushed out by the other stags and were just taking a break. This guy here could hardly keep his head up, his antlers were that heavy, but he didn't show any interest whatsoever in us as we walked by. Anyway, we carried on walking without any great expectation. It's such a massive area. The parkland itself is over 1,000 acres, which is one heck of an area, all owned by the Manchester Council, I believe. And as the day went on, the weather got warmer and warmer, and was kind of come dressed for cold weather. So I was starting to get a bit too hot, really.
Derek. When he's on the line.
Quite happy with what we'd seen up till now, but then we walked probably another mile or so, or it felt like a mile anyway, and came across the real big herds of red deer, and things were totally different there. Lots of hinds, lots of stags too, probably too many stags, some with injuries, as you can see on this guy here. He's been in some kind of a scrap today, I think, looking at his eye. Now we've found the big herds. That's when it got a bit more interesting. There was a couple of young bucks having a scrap. I think probably wasting their energy, because if you look at the size of the stag that stood behind them, I think you could have either one of those two. Nice to see the fallow deer. They seem a lot more gentle and obviously a lot smaller. Not quite as interesting as the red deer to watch, but still nice to see them. Anyway, after a good 5 hours walking around and over 6.5 miles covered, it was time to get back. A very busy place, very busy. Mostly busy with dog walkers and cyclists, but great facility for anyone in the Manchester area, especially as it's free entrance if you're walking. So we'll certainly be back. Yeah, it was a great place to see so many stags doing what they do. Totally different to being around here seeing them, but you can't beat being down the Ruston Valley early in the morning and getting a glimpse of them through the undergrowth of the trees. Totally different. And with the autumn colours starting to develop, I'm sure it'd be worth walking around and forgetting the wildlife, just taking scenic landscape type shots. Plenty of scope there. Could probably spend a good day or two there. Anyway, a 2 hour drive back. Well worth coming.
Beach nuts.